100 years, an exclusive group of operas has dominated the repertoires of opera houses and festivals. Half of all opera performances are given by 20 operas alone. Every third performance is an opera from the top 10. The audience seems to want to see the same operas over and over again. Have you ever wondered why that is? In 2017, the BBC's music magazine asked 172 of the most renowned opera singers what they thought were the greatest operas. The results are astonishing. Just a glance at the top 10 shows a different picture to that of their audience. The difference with the audience's choice is remarkable. If you compare the audience's top 20 with that of the experts, you can count only 6 operas that made it into both shortlists. We now asked ourselves 2 questions. First, why do the experts have a different list of top operas, and to what can these differences be attributed? Second, what do the 20 most popular operas have in common that opera fans can't get enough of them? To be able to answer these questions, we have compiled a database with the data of 100 of the most important works of opera literature. Each opera was classified into each of these 14 criteria. To analyze this data, we use machine learning algorithms. By means of artificial intelligence, we want to trace the regularities. Before we show you the results, we will present the criteria in detail. Criterion number 1 is a genre of comedy or drama. Just under a quarter of the top 100 operas are comedies. How important is this criterion for the audience and the experts? Criterion number 2 is to which time period a work belongs. Each work was classified on a timeline from early Baroque to modern. We measure whether there are preferences. The dramatic range of the operas is wide. It ranges from operas with a very lyrical character like Hansel and Gretel, to the music dramas of Richard Wagner. Each work has been classified according to the voice Varg. We ask, does the audience and the experts prefer the lyric soprano or the heroic tenor? Everyone knows Verdi's Va Pensiero or Puccini's Nessun Dorma. The opera literature of the 100 great operas has over 200 pieces of music that every opera lover recognizes immediately. Verdi's Trovatore is the opera with the most hits. How important are the hits for the success of an opera? Could it be that the hits alone are not enough? To investigate this point, we counted the number of famous pieces of each work. To the hits we added the pieces that have great popularity, like the highest click rates in YouTube. Each opera can be characterized by its role structure. The spectrum ranges from operas dominated by one role, such as Salome or Medea, to operas, such as Meistersinger or Rigoletto, that have a myriad of leading roles. The next criterion we added was the staging effort. While the effort for Tosca is still manageable, the composers sometimes demand extraordinary things. For example, according to Gershwin's wish, in staged performances Porgy and Bess may only be sung by black singers. Another example is Berlioz's Les Troyens, for which the composer stipulates a chorus strength of over 200. The next feature is the vocal effort. Many composers impose inhuman strains on their Tannhäuser, Elektra and Brunhilden. Other operas, such as Rusalka, are less physically and mentally demanding. The duration of operas varies considerably. Puccini's Bohème lasts less than 2 hours. Parsifal, on the other hand, lasts almost 6 hours including intermissions, and is Wagner's longest opera. When a young American was apparently unprepared for a performance of Parsifal in 1913, the visibly disturbed man is said to have asked on his way out, "Is Roosevelt still president?" The role of the chorus also varies greatly. Wagner, for example, dispensed almost entirely with a chorus in his Ring. On the other side of the spectrum, we find operas like Turandot with its gigantic mass scenes. The quality of libretti also varies. Some operas were created in writing factories and the text is by the dozen. Other works are based on high-level literature. How important is the artistic quality of words and stories? Unquestionably, the Italian language is the gold standard of opera. Nearly half of the top 100 operas were written in Italian. But how important is this aspect really to opera goers? The 14th and final criterion is ballet. Do operas benefit from ballet performances according to audiences and experts? We fed this data to 4 machine learning algorithms. We now present the results to you. We start with the audience results. Let's start with the 5 criteria that seem least crucial for the success of an opera. They are the dramatic level of the roles, role of choir, and role of ballet. Also secondary for the audience are the quality of libretto and the period, but the timeline is not completely insignificant. When we plot the popularity of the operas versus the timeline according to the year of their creation, it is noticeable that the audience's top 20 comes from a period of 140 years between Mozart's abduction from the Seraglio and Puccini's Turandot. Somewhat more importance is given to the following 5 criteria: staging effort, singer effort, duration of opera and love story. It is noticeable that longer operas have a difficult stand. If one compares the popularity of the opera with its duration, it becomes apparent that the audience prefers shorter operas. The longest opera that made it into the top 20 is Le Nozze di Figaro, with a pure running time of almost 3.5 hours. Let's move on to the more important aspects. The next 3 criteria are more important for the audience. In terms of genre, it is noticeable that comedies are very popular with the audience. 8 out of the top 20 operas are comedies. Furthermore, the audience appreciates a large cast. Fiery duets and lyrical quartets are more popular than long monologues by main roles. Italian language is also popular. When the popularity of operas is measured by whether they are sung in Italian, this correlation is clear. Impressively, 16 of the top 20 operas are written in Italian language. Let us come to the most important criterion of the audience. It is the number of great pieces. When we plot the number of great pieces versus the popularity of the operas, this correlation is easy to see. Now, let's come to the evaluation of the experts' rating. Let's start with the criteria with the least weight. Surprisingly, the dramatic level of roles and the singer effort do not play any role in the evaluation. However, if we look at which operas made it into the experts' top 20, we see a preference for roles with a medium level of effort. The experts also give little weight to the criteria of language, the role of ballet and the period. In the case of the latter, the temporal marginal epochs are somewhat preferred. The genre, the duration of opera and the number of great pieces also have little impact. Let's move on to the more important aspects. The aspect of the chorus is given an important significance. However, the picture shows an inverse relationship of the works with a high choral content. Practically no work made it into the top 20. The same can be said of the criterion staging effort. The higher the effort, the less likely it is that the opera will make it into the top 20. Of medium importance to the experts is the number of hits. Obviously, the highlights of the opera, where the greatest applause is heard, have a prominent role. A sign of high quality for the experts is also the size of the cast and the presence of a love story. Obviously, the dramatic power of this emotion has a high importance for the experts. Looking at the top 20, it is noticeable that only 2 works without a love story made it into this circle. However, the criterion of quality of libretto has the highest importance. This finding is surprising. It is possible that the quality of libretto is an important marker of artistic quality, so that a work continues to inspire the artist even after its 50th performance. Let me summarize the findings. While the audience loves the catchy tunes of Verdi, Mozart and Puccini and acting highlights such as comedies, the experts seem to give more importance to artistic aspects. It is exemplarily shown with Verdi. While the audience puts Aida and Rigoletto in the top 20, the experts prefer Verdi's Shakespeare works such as Otello and Falstaff. I hope you found this analysis interesting. Please leave our interpretation of the results, or your opinion which aspects you consider most important. You can read more about Theses operas in the online opera guide www.opera-inside.com.